place.
How long will I have to be in the chaos?
August. And now rotate from the shoulder slowly.
Did he say funky butt loving?
Those tendons have healed a little tight. Now, the kid who wasn't good enough for Little League is pitching.
Shannon, do the blink of the Cubs. Hey,
In the big leagues.
I'm the new pitcher.
12-year-old Henry Rowengartner, the youngest person in history to play Major League Baseball.
But what can one sixth grader do against pros like these? Anything you want.
Yes, very good cheese. Stinky cheddar. What's the matter? Chicken? I'm not a chicken, you're a chicken.
This summer, the majors
Hey, Pitcher!
will be answering to a minor.
Pitcher got a big butt. Pitcher got a big butt.
Rookie of the year.
Well, I know you're thrilled that we're doing another baseball movie, but I figured I would pick out Rookie of the Year. No one's going to get mad at me, don't you worry. And I will be reviewing this wonderful 1993 family movie right after this nice family commercial. And I'll do that in just a second.
Can't get enough of that golden crisp. Sugar bells after my golden crisp cereal. Time for Granny Goodwitch time switch. He will never find me. Switch to China. Gotta have it, oh honorable Granny. Sugar bear. Great wall, but nothing comes between my tummy and the honey sweet crunch of golden crisp. Barring chopsticks. Each part of a complete breakfast.
I hope you enjoyed that really annoying commercial with the wonderful golden crisp bear. The food tasted like a Cologuard stool sample. It was quite bad. And I did make fun of the commercial when I was a kid, so hopefully you comment on this and remember this disgusting cereal and really obnoxious commercial. So anyway, so speaking of obnoxious, I am now going to review Dookie of the Year.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
Why are you gonna have nightmares?
Oh no, I look at Jeff killing this person in the city.
Thomas Ian Nicholas?
Is that the kid's name?
That's the actor's name, yes. And
Yeah.
he was in A Kid in King Arthur's Court.
Nope.
He was in, well, I don't expect you to know that. It wasn't exactly a big hit. But he was also in the American Pie movies, is what he is
Nope.
mostly remembered
Is
for.
he obnoxious in those too?
No, he actually isn't bad. Sean William Scott might be the annoying one in that movie. He plays Stifler.
I don't know that.
But anyway, so moving on to Rookie of the Year.
So you skip it because I watched the trailer. That was enough for me.
And believe it or not, John Candy is in this movie. But for some reason, he is uncredited. I wasn't able to read up why. Somebody might want to comment on that and let me know why they did not credit him for this, or did he just not want to be a part of this?
If I knew I'd be category with that kid.
Oh.
But I want
Again, this is something I would have to look into more. And also, Daniel Stern is in this. We know him from Home Alone 2, City Slickers 2,
Who?
Celtic Pride, Daniel Stern. He was Marv.
Who is that?
He directed this movie, and he is also in this as well as the pitching coach. And Gary Busey is also in this.
What's the guy that lets you swear a lot?
That's Joe Pesci.
He should have been the pitching coach with that kid. He would have been swearing a lot.
He would have been swearing off camera.
You have been swearing a lot.
So, who did I just say?
Yeah, you're swearing.
No, Gary Busey.
I don't know.
And he was in Lethal Weapon. He
Nope.
was it. Really?
Nope.
He was in Under Siege.
Nope.
You saw that movie. We even reviewed it. He was the guy that the cook punched in the face.
Reviewing it does not mean I watched it.
Yeah, but the clips were funny.
What, the two of them that actually got on YouTube?
Uh-huh. Yes, he was in Lethal Weapon, Under Siege. He was in Black Sheep. He did get into a motorcycle accident in 1988, and he had some severe head injuries and almost lost his life. So he was also in Celebrity Apprentice with everybody's best friend, President Trump.
Who's best friend?
I don't know. He doesn't have many. But yes, he was in Celebrity Apprentice, and he was actually really funny in that. He was also in the Buddy Holly story. He almost won an award for that movie. So Gary Busey does have some talent. I know he is also. Oh yes, he was also in he was in a show called Life with Busey, I believe, as well. So he is kind of fun to laugh at. So yes, Gary Busey is the veteran pitcher in this movie. He is Chet Steadman, but they called him the Rocket, which I wish they would have given him a different nickname because Roger Clemens, as much as I dislike Roger Clemens, already had that nickname, the Rocket. So they could have called him something different. So I guess that's problem number one. So really,
That's problem one. The trailer with the kid wasn't enough.
yes, and Amy Morton is in this. We know that she's in Chicago Fire as Mouch's wife. She was mostly in, from what I just found out, Chicago PD. She was probably in Chicago Med. It said that in the credits. And then we also have Albert Hall, who was in Apocalypse Now. He is the manager. And there's a few other co-stars that I will go along with during this movie. There's Skip is my guest, and he just filled me in that I believe his name is Richard High Gorman. He was in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And I know, Skip, I'm sorry. He was also in Mr. No, not that. He was in Mr. Nanny with Hulk Hogan. So I will send this guy some sympathy cards. I would much rather be in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. At least I can have fun on the set instead of dealing with Hulk Hogan. So the story, well, I'm already getting some feedback from this movie already.
All we did was see the trailer.
All we did was see the trailer. So, but that's okay. We will. I will get to my grade in this movie, obviously, at the end. The story is very, very.
Well, actually, yeah, let's shoot the
So I will tell the story of this is very simple. The kid Henry Rowan Gardner is not very good at baseball. He pretends to be, so I guess you can say he's a fake sports guy. Um, so I guess he thinks that he probably could play in the major leagues, even though he can't. I know a few people that actually think this way. They think they can play in the major leagues, but they couldn't play slow pitch softball. They struggled with that, along with getting out of bed in the morning. So anyway, so he thinks. So anyway, so yes, and he would probably lose a golf match to a 7-year-old as well. Oh, he did. Okay. So anyway, so Henry has a hard time making it in Little League. So how does he all of a sudden play for the Cubs? Well, he trips and he flies really high up in the air after tripping on a baseball, breaks his arm. He gets set in a cast, and his tendons in his arm they tend to get really tight. So it's like when he brings his arm back, it's like a rubber band. And now he can throw a baseball incredibly fast. So at a Cubs game, what happens when the other team hits a home run? They throw the ball back. So Henry, during a Cubs game, actually throws the ball back, and it goes all the way to the catcher. And he's all the way at the other end of the outfield. So John Candy, I think, drops his hot dog. He's probably on number 12 now. Oh, I'm sorry, the late John Candy, and this is part of his problem, part of why he is not with us anymore, which is very sad. So, and also Eddie Bracken is the owner of the Cubs, and he is, we all know him as Mr. Duncan from Home Alone 2, and he was also Mr. Wally from the Vacation movie, National Lampoon's Vacation. So he does end up playing for the Cubs, and that is pretty much the story. Now, with him being in the major leagues, it grows some little bit of friction with his friends because they are a little bit jealous of him with his new success and very grueling schedule. Now, he's also 12 years old, so this cannot happen in real life. There is child labor laws, so a 12-year-old cannot play in the major leagues. That is actually a rule. But this is Hollywood, so and it's 1993, so this movie did have to compete with The Sandlot. So obviously we saw The Sandlot before this movie, but I do remember seeing it in the theaters.
Which one was better?
Well, I haven't reviewed The Sandlot yet, but I'm wearing the shirt of The Sandlot, so I'm not exactly worried. I don't have a Rookie of the Year T-shirt, and are you struggling?
Okay.
Well, he made it. So obviously, yes, I am wearing the Sandlot T-shirt. Can't have the electric equipment break.
I was more falling on top of Skipper.
Oh, so I will actually show the first clip now, and we get to see Henry play Little League Baseball. Let's see how great he is. Oh,
I got it. Come on. Get it, get it.
well, this is Henry here making the play of the day. So now he did get in, but the deal was that he would have to do laundry if he couldn't play. I think his mom made him do extra laundry after he made a play like this. So now it went from one load to now probably five or six because this was worse than not playing. This was actually quite horrible. And I think this would probably make Bob Euchre laugh. So, yes, this is the opening scene here. So now the next clip is how Henry got his broken arm. And I will show that in just a second.
What's taking so long to fall?
Well, ooh, that hurts. Well, apparently he flew 20 feet in the air and fell on his wonderful arm that is pretty much useless anyways, except for throwing a baseball in the wrong direction. So, so now let's see what happens when his bones do heal. He has a little trip to the doctor's office, and let's just see what happens. I'm sure it goes well.
Now bend at the elbow. Good, good. And now rotate from the shoulder slowly.
Well, this is what happens here. I guess everybody would eventually like to hit their doctor when they don't know that a certain medication is a steroid. So Henry's dream comes true. He got to hit the doctor in the nose.
So you.
Yes. So now the doctor probably says that now he has a broken nose and he will need an X-ray. Oops. So Henry now gets to go to the Cubs game. I guess his mother gave him tickets, and they're on the escalator going up instead of down. So now that they're at the Cubs game, Gary Busey, Chet Stedman, seems to give up. He gave up a couple home runs. and he's not happy. That's not good. So now Henry has the ball, and as I said before, at the the confines at Wrigley Field where the Cubs play, they throw the ball back if the opposing team hits a home run. So Henry is about to throw the ball back. So let's see how far it goes. I will show that clip in just a second.
Oh my god.
Well, here's the little play here from the stands, and John Candy makes a nice little comment at the end of this. So Henry throws all the way from the nosebleeds all the way to home plate, which is about over, yes, over 400 feet. So obviously that's very impressive, and it gets there fast. So, and John Candy says, well, it's no wonder why the Cubs lose. They have more talent in the stands than they do on the field. So yes, at this time in the '90s, the Cubs were not very good. So why not have a movie about a losing team? That seems to be what these baseball movies do. Most of them, anyway. So so then Henry runs out because the grown-ups are feel like they have just been kind of humiliated by a 12-year-old kid. So now he does have a tryout with the Cubs. So we will see how that tryout goes. The manager goes to his house, and Henry, being this huge Cubs fan, doesn't even recognize the manager. Huh. He's looking like a real fake sports guy. So I will now show the clip of him trying out for the Cubs. So let's see how that goes.
Holy Christmas. Who is this kid? Jack. He was a golden goose. This kid's incredible. Just think of the possibilities, Jack. A 12-year-old kid playing in the major leagues. I know.
Well, so this this is the tryout here. So obviously it goes well. He can pitch fast. Now he could also pitch very, very straight, but you also do have to have movement on that ball, and I don't think there really is any. So this is one little flaw here with this movie. So obviously, I know that this is kind of it's not a realistic movie. This is also a kids movie too. So I have to take all this into consideration. Yes. Yes, this was actually a pretty big movie when this came out. This had a $10 million budget and it made 50 million. So, yes, it did do well. Uh, I did. Yes. We definitely did. Oh yeah, we definitely went to see this movie. This came out, The Sandlot came out. So, some people even consider this a baseball classic, believe it or not. Well, we will see if it does live up to that hype. So far, it's so-so. Well, now he does manage to go to the Cubs. He had a press conference, and let's see how the players take him in. Let's see if they're welcoming him with open arms. So I will show that scene in just a second.
I'm Henry Rowan Gardner. I'm the new pitcher.
This is the nice little reaction that he got from going into the locker room, which I promise you, locker rooms do not look like this anymore. This looks like a high school mudroom. I don't even know if they looked like this in 1993. Uh, yeah, this is just a plain locker room, and I think he would get a different response than what they gave him. So now he does go up to Chet Stedman, that's played by Gary Busey, and he says he doesn't give any autographs. He's kind of grumpy because he's at the end of his career. So now I will show the next clip now, and let's see the pitching coach, who is played by Daniel Stern. Let's see how professional this guy is. So I will show that clip in just a second.
Rigba? Henry.
Hi, Henry.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Rigma.
Welcome to the big show. Now, it'll take a lot of work. It'll take a lot of sweat. But eventually, I'm gonna mold you into one of the greatest 12-year-olds that ever played this game.
Well, since he's not robbing any more houses, I guess he decided to now be a pitching coach. And obviously, you can tell he's a little goofy. So he is definitely the comic relief in this movie because I don't think anybody really finds Henry too funny. So let's see how his first game goes. I'm sure it goes great. So I will show that clip in just a second.
Wild pitch, a very wild pitch. Go on to win. Gardner throws a homer, hits a man, throws a wild pitch, and still manages to get the save. And the Chicago Cubs beat the New York Mets.
Well, he gets a little bit lucky here. So he gives up a home run, and then he hits a man, and then on a wild pitch, they happen to get the guy out at third. But a save is a save. So I guess a pretty interesting first day. Well, they're in the locker room, and the manager now wants Chet Steadman, Gary Busey, now to teach him how to pitch. Now that's going to be interesting, since Gary Busey is very, very grumpy and very, very goofy. So I haven't shown him yet, but now we will see how Henry does with the classmates who have seen him pitch on TV. So I will show that clip in just a second.
Sit here. Come on. I'm not sitting over just girls. Hi. Hey. How's it going? Okay. Good.
Well, Skipper's back and the sprinklers are on. So this is. Hold on, I just forgot where we left off for a second. Oh, yeah. Well, they're afraid of women, so obviously they are afraid of the Ric Flair lifestyle.
They are 12.
They're still afraid of the Ric Flair lifestyle. They might need a lecture from him.
They are
So,
12.
so the yes, if you recognize the girl at the cafeteria, that she was in the Mighty Ducks 2 and 3. She is that I believe her name was the cat in that movie. So yes, this is Henry's crush, and I'm not going to tell you if he gets with her or not. But this is how he is received at school now. She is really starting to notice him. She kind of liked him beforehand, though. So I guess this is the part of the story here that the supposed reject does wind up with the girl. So now I will show the. Well, I guess he doesn't really have a lot of friends except for these two bozos that he hangs out with. Well, the one isn't so bad. George is kind of iffy. So I will show the next clip of when he's starting to bond with Chet Steadman, the grumpy seasoned pitcher. And I will show that clip in just a second.
Sure. Thanks for signing that baseball.
Do me a favor. Don't call me Rocket.
Why?
Because I'm not the Rocket anymore.
Yeah, I don't get it. You're throwing so slow.
Well, thank you very much.
No. I mean, didn't the surgery fix your shoulder?
Well, this is Chet Steadman on the airplane, and they're flying United, so they better have parachutes. Oh, I'm sure they don't. Well, let's just hope nothing bad happens. Uh, so, yes, Henry Rowan Gardner is having the chicken fingers, and this is what they do. They used to eat on airplanes. And Chet Steadman is having his wonderful Hungry Man dinner. So, the Salisbury steak. So he's having Salisbury poison.
I like Salisbury steak.
Oh, I'm sure it's disgusting.
How would you know if you never had it?
Because I'm sure it's pumped up with junk. And so are his chicken fingers. I'm sure it's plastic chicken as well. Well, I wonder what it's like having Henry pack a probably suitcase full of toys. So I wonder how that looks like compared to the other players. So he's talking about how his Chet Steadman is talking about how he shouldn't be called the Rocket anymore because he's pitching slower because his shoulder is not really ever going to heal. So the one thing he does explain to him later on is that Henry's gift will eventually be gone. You don't know when that is. You don't know if it's next week or 20 years. But the point is, you're not a baseball player forever. Now, this is the National League. So, for those who don't know, the fake sports people, especially, may not even know this. But those who brag about TBS having Braves games on every single day probably didn't know that pitchers batted. So, yes, the pitchers, Henry is going to bat because in the National League, the pitchers bat. The National League, they have the American League and the National League, and then they play each other in the World Series. Well, it is called the Major League. But yes, but that's what they're. But he's playing in the National League. That's the conference. So yeah, so he is going to be batting, and it is almost October. So for some people, that is their favorite month because you have baseball playoffs, you have basketball, you have football and college football and hockey. So some people actually do sit in front of their TVs and actually watch this stuff and still don't know a thing about it. So I will let's see how Henry does up to bat. I am done with my sports rant. So I will now show Henry and let's see if he hits a home run.
Put it in my wheelhouse. Come on, give me something that I can hit.
Step in the box, son. Step up to the plate.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Ah! You almost.
Well, so he did end up getting on base after all this nonsense. He has no strike zone. So I was as a kid, I was hoping he was going to get a home run. I kind of wish he did because all his little on base antics are kind of
Annoying.
irritating to my eardrums, and I will explain why in the next clip.
Your eardrums about mine.
I guess yours hurt too. Skip? I'm just sleeping during it. I don't know why you two are complaining. So I will show the next. I will show that clip in just a second.
Nanny, 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 you can't give me.
Making me crazy.
Hey, we want a picture right enough to wear, Stitcher.
Well, I will let you be the judge, but I did find this kind of
Annoying.
as a kid. I probably enjoyed it. I'm sure I said it when I was playing baseball in the backyard when I was 8 or 9 years
I
old.
doubt you will like that.
I wish I could say different.
I doubt you will like that. That kid's annoying.
Well, I'm glad that you're giving me the benefit of the doubt, but I'm giving myself just 100% doubt. So, so I will
You
show.
find that annoying?
Yes,
Well, if you were that annoying now, we would not be kidding. That's okay.
I outgrew that, but watching this movie as an adult is actually starting to get a little bit irritating. There are some kids movies I can still watch today. This so far is not exactly one that I would even throw on if I was washing clothes.
I
So
think I need like a lot of alcohol right now to get through this movie.
so now he is having some issues now with his friends. So these are parts I do have to show. So I will show the next clip here where they are actually building their own boat. So this is one of the side scenes that are actually kind of cool because this is what instead of I guess Nintendo was around back then. So instead of playing Nintendo, they're actually doing something constructive. Um, so I will show that clip in just a second. Well, this scene here beforehand, he was fighting with his friends because, well, the grueling 162 games plus traffic, or I'm sorry, plus travel, and plus practice. So his friends do become jealous. So there's a little bit of a, uh, guess, gap there with their friendship. So they do eventually forgive him, like you see in the scene here. So they do get the boat together. So no, they are close to the World Series, so I will show the last clip, and we will see what happens to Henry. Chet Stedman pitched his last game, unfortunately. You'll have to see that scene for yourself. So let's see how Henry does. Let's see how it's like when he runs out to the mound. So I will show that scene in just a second. Well, he seemed to trip and fall here. So I will let you try to figure out what happens or see this movie for yourself. So now, Siskel the Grouch and King of the Toilet Chair did review this movie. So I will have their opinions go first before mine. So I will show that in just a second.
Young Thomas Ian Nicholas, a 12-year-old with a magical arm in Rookie of the Year, a Formula Kids baseball movie that is much more entertaining and clever and funny than you might expect. I think it's the best new children's film of the summer I've seen. Nicholas plays Henry Rowan Gardner, a kid who trips and breaks his throwing arm in a playground accident, but his injury heals in a strange way.
Now bend at the elbow. Good, good. And now rotate from the shoulder slowly.
Henry's arm, here's what happens when he throws a ball back from the bleachers at beautiful Wrigley Field.
Oh my God!
Henry does join the Cubs, where he runs into a wacky pitching coach played by Daniel Stern, who also directed this film and is best known as one of the Home Alone robbers.
It's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna take a lot of sweat. But eventually, I'm gonna mold you into one of the greatest 12-year-olds that ever played this game.
On the field, Henry is befriended by an over-the-hill pitcher played by Gary Busey.
Everybody is half win and half lose.
Okay.
The loose half is afraid.
Right.
The winning half is fearless.
Fearless. Right.
The have-to is inside. It's where the fear lives.
Oh. Okay.
Rookie of the Year works for adults as well as kids because it offers surprises at every familiar turn the story takes. There's a strong mom character, that funny pitching coach you saw, and in the baseball scenes, there's some imagination in the ways in which little Henry helps the Cubs win the big game. There's some fresh ways of getting outs. I saw this picture once as a critic, and then I took my whole family and enjoyed it a second time. Daniel Stern proves to be a careful and enterprising first-time director. I liked it a lot.
I enjoyed it too. You're right to say it's a formula picture, and you're also right to say that on occasion it surprises us with what it does. For example, at the end, you kind of expect that maybe he'll win the big game because I think it's written in stone that all movies end in that way, this kind of movie, but the way that he does it is very unusual and very surprising.
And also, there's a lot of little things, like going on the road, and when the guy gets locked into the little closet area.
Oh, yeah,
There were a lot of surprises. The writing is bright. Stern does a good job in the comic.
One of the things that I responded to was right at the beginning, because I was just as bad in Little League as this kid was, and I always dreamed. I mean, all I could do, the thing I could really, in terms of baseball, the thing I was best at doing when I was 12 was turning on the Cubs broadcast. So I could really identify.
I think every kid can identify this fantasy of playing for a major league team. That's been used before, but this writing is fresh and it's good.
Okay, when we come back, Free Willy.
Well, Siskel the Grouch is now Siskel the Clown and Clown of the Toilet Chair. They seem to like this movie for some reason. They said that it was, well, Siskel the Grouch called it fresh. He might be right, but fresh doesn't always mean good. And I can tell you firsthand that adults did not like this movie because my dad thought it was irritating. My mom thought it was annoying, and my mom also thought it was annoying when I was imitating this kid doing what he was doing on the ball field. I can tell you this. I can tell you this from experience in the backyard. So
You really did that?
I really did that.
Oh my god. You can't get me.
I was like 9 years old,
You were 10 when this.
whatever, 10, and I didn't do it that much. But nonetheless, so for some reason, these guys liked this movie. And what Ebert said was wrong. Yes, he said that he was bad at Little League, but the best thing he did was eat the hot dogs and the junk food and drank a lot of the pop. That was the best thing he did at a baseball game. And then maybe he did turn on the Cubs broadcast and pretended to like the game, but really wanted to hear about the hot dogs and really liked the hot dog commercials and the hamburger
Okay,
commercials
get out with the review. Let's go. Chop, chop.
and the candy commercials and especially the pop commercials. And obviously he filled himself up with all that stuff. Just look at the camera. Okay, so anyway, so getting on with my little review here. Um, would I watch this movie again as an adult? Absolutely not. This is not a movie that I would put in at all. I would not put this in for a movie day, even for like a baseball treat. I wouldn't even put it on for that.
Why do you own this?
Well, I mean, I like parts of it, just not the parts with the kid. I like the scenes with the pitching coach. I liked part of the scenes with the baseball manager. I like parts of it with Gary Busey. I like some of the business stuff that they have on the side. It's not, it, but even the business stuff is not great, but it's watchable. So those, and it's, I do agree with them having a strong mom role. She was actually the pitcher in the family. It wasn't the father. It was the mother. So that was sort of interesting. But the kid, yeah, yeah, those parts completely fail. Those are just really, really, really bad, and I cannot watch those parts. I mean, yeah, even I do agree. Even some of the baseball stuff is a little bit. It's a little bit out there. There's a movie that is similar to this that is just a little bit better, and it's much more enjoyable. I'm not going to say what that is because that will be a review for a later time. So, as far as Rookie of the Year, I will have to give this movie. I was going to be generous. You know what? I'm still going to be generous. I'm going to give this a D plus. I went lower than I thought I was gonna go.
I picked a U.
You're going. Wait, you mean a UW, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy, she just gave it an unwatchable, folks. So I mean, I will recommend this to kids, adults. I don't think so. If my parents didn't like it, and there were some kids' baseball movies that they did like, this was not one of them. When I got this on VHS, this went to the back of the VHS collection. This was one that they did not enjoy us watching very much. And I put it on maybe once a year, but as I got older, my interest for this movie really did diminish. It went way, way, way down. So that is the reason for my wonderful grade here. So I recommend it to kids. I do not recommend it to adults. So that will be my review there. So you can comment if you want. You can subscribe if you want. And thank you for watching.